Knowledge is power, and if you have the same knowledge as your oppressor, then you have the ability to essentially work the system. And that was exactly the plan of Dr. Susan Flesche Picotte. Dr. Picotte was a trailblazer. She was a healer and an advocate for Indigenous rights. She was the very first Native American woman to earn a medical degree, and she dedicated her life to improving health care for her people. She was born in 1865 on the Omaha Reservation in Nebraska. Her father was a leader on the reservation, and he encouraged education to help the children culturally adapt as a means of survival. Growing up, she was taught to embrace both traditional Omaha culture as well as understanding Western educational systems. However, assimilation adaptation did not protect her from racism. When she was a young woman, she witnessed an elderly Native American woman die because a white doctor wouldn't treat her just because she was Indigenous. From then, she was determined to become a doctor so that she could care for her own people. As an Indigenous woman, she was not allowed to attend white universities and instead opted to go to the Hampton Institute in Virginia, a school that was dedicated towards educating African American students. She was brilliant, and her teachers recognized this, and they wanted her to pursue her dreams as far as she wanted to go. In 1886, she was accepted into the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania, one of the very few medical schools open to women at the time. She completed the 3-year program in just 2 years and graduated as the valedictorian. At the age of 24, she earned her medical degree, the very first Native American woman to do so. This was absolutely groundbreaking in a time when racism and sexism were rampant and commonplace. After she earned her degree, Dr. Picotte returned to the reservation and was the only physician for more than 1,200 people. She had very few resources, but she worked constantly in order to provide medical care to those who had little to no access. She worked as a doctor, a surgeon, and advocated for public health. She worked tirelessly to address issues with tuberculosis outbreaks, alcoholism, and problems caused by a lack of sanitation within her community. She would make house calls on foot, by horseback, day and night, no matter what the weather was like, day or night, because she knew that her people needed her. She was a tireless advocate for her people. She worked diligently to make sure that food safety would apply to foods on reservations. She wanted to outlaw alcohol on reservations because alcoholism was such a huge problem. And she wanted to fight for improved access to cleaning and hygiene products because she understood that all of those things were leading to bigger issues within the Omaha Reservation. In addition to medical advocacy, she was also an activist for land protection, Indigenous rights, as well as better living conditions on reservations. She spoke out against the government's neglect of Native health care and worked to dismantle harmful policies that were forcing the folks living on reservations into poverty, which was causing the alcoholism and the disease outbreaks among her people. She said, "This condition of being treated as children, we want to have nothing to do with it. The majority of Omahas are as competent as the same number of white people." She knew that her people should be treated better, and she advocated with everything she had for her entire career. She was truly a warrior for her people. She was subjected to systemic racism, systemic sexism, and in general, she was discouraged every step along the way, but she never stopped fighting to make sure that her people would have access to health care and justice in her community would be done. With all of the work that she put into her community, she wore herself down, and her health started to fail her as the 1900s crept along. She did pass away in 1915 at only the age of 49. After fighting for most of her life for the rights of Native Americans on land that had been stolen from them. But before she died, she was able to fulfill her lifelong dream of providing a hospital on the Omaha Reservation. She wanted the opportunity to provide that for her people. She wanted a hospital for surgery, for just taking care of people, as a place where women could have babies in a safe environment that was clean. and somewhere where people, no matter what their ethnic background, be they white or black or native, could receive first-class medical care regardless. And honestly, at the time, it seemed like a radical concept, but truly, it is a dream worth fighting for. Dr. Susan Picotte didn't just accept the way the world was. She changed it. She broke barriers in medicine, fought for the rights of Indigenous people on land that had been stolen from them, and dedicated her life to healing others, even when it meant sacrificing her own health and well-being. She is a testament to how powerful an education can be. Her resilience, her brilliance and intelligence, and her relentless compassion make her someone who should always be remembered and celebrated. I'll end with a quote. "I shall always fight good and hard, even if I have to fight alone."